Hi and welcome to another episode of Delaware County Political News, Meet the Candidate. I am your host, Larry DeMarco, and today we are here with George Badey, candidate for Congress in the 5th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. George is the only Democrat in the primary field that has both South Philadelphia and Delaware County roots. He is the son of a longshoreman, and he grew up in a row house in the South Philadelphia portion of the 5th Congressional District. He was valedictorian of his class at South Philadelphia High School and received an academic scholarship to the University of Penn. After receiving his undergraduate degree from Penn, he received his law degree from Villanova Law School, also in the district. For the last 35 years, he has been in private practice representing the people against the powerful. He has been chosen as a Pennsylvania super lawyer in Philadelphia Magazine for the last 13 consecutive years and has won many landmark cases in a quite prominent legal career. While he has lived in Delco since 1987 and has served for many years as the chair of the Radnor Township Democratic Committee, George has maintained his South Philadelphia ties, being a member for the last 47 years. Please enjoy my interview with George Badey. George, thanks for being a guest on Delaware County Political News.
Thanks for having me, Larry.
George, you've been around a long time practicing law, and we've been practicing together in ways. Give us some of your highlights.
Well, ever since the beginning, I've always wanted to represent the people against the powerful, and that's what I've done. I've devoted my career to representing people against powerful institutions. So over the years, I've had a lot of significant cases, and a lot of cases which were very significant for my clients, if not significant in the public realm. But for example, I've represented a family against the tobacco industry, and you can't buy light cigarettes anymore because, in part, due to the things we've done with litigation. The tobacco industry had defrauded people for decades, and now they're not allowed to use the word light cigarettes. And that was a federal case, but our litigation started that whole process way back in the late 1990s. I've done many other cases. I've argued in the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania numerous times. I've had cases involving the Democratic Party, pro bono. I have represented the Democratic Party just recently in 2016. In November of 2016, the Republican machine in Delaware County tried to disenfranchise over 1,100 new Democratic voters. And I represented the Delaware County Democratic Party against the Republican machine to try to right that wrong in the Supreme Court. So I've been doing this in the year 2000, I was in Florida on the notorious butterfly ballot case.
Tell us about that, George. That was a big one.
That was fascinating. I mean, I guess you heard we lost that case, and George W. Bush became a disastrous president for 8 years because, in part, that we lost that case. But I went down to Florida, to Palm Beach County, on the butterfly ballot case, which was a defectively designed ballot. And as a result, George W. Bush won the election by 537 votes, but well over 14,000 votes were double punched and discarded because of this problem.
How did you get involved in that, by the way?
Well, I have a lot of Democratic Party contacts all over the country, and I've been involved heavily in Democratic Party politics since 1978, when I was 20 years old and I ran for committeeman. But then after I became a lawyer, I was even more involved on the legal end. So in 2000, they called me and said, you need to get down here, help out with this. And it's, I'm proud of my involvement, although I'm very disappointed that we didn't win. It's on our campaign website, actually, a video that we came out from the Palm Beach County Courthouse. I think it was November 15th, 2000, right after the election and before everything was decided. And there was a big press conference, and cameras from all over the world, not just the nation, were involved. And it was fascinating. And that's out there on the campaign website.
Well, at least they must have paid you a lot for that, George.
Oh, no. Thanks for that softball, Larry. That was pro bono. My work for the Democratic Party is a matter of passion. It's not a matter of profit. It's passion, not profit, for the Democrats. And, I've done very well in my career financially, thankfully. I mean, I've been very fortunate and blessed to have been able to do this and to have the resources to spend when I need to. But when it comes to Democratic Party politics, I do it pro bono for the Delaware County Committee in 2016 and 2015 and many other times, as well as in 2000 in Florida. I paid my own way, not one dime in fees, but it's for a higher purpose. It's for our nation. It's for our children, for our future. We need to do this.
And the way to help the nation, George, is grassroots. So share what you've done for Radnor.
Well, in Radnor Township, I've lived in Radnor Township now for 30 years. I've lived in Delaware County since 1987. And when I first got out there, it was a very sad landscape. It was very Republican controlled, and they ran everything in Delaware County and in Radnor. And I got involved in the political process in the Democratic Party back many years ago. And then eventually I became the vice chairman of the Radnor Democratic Committee in 2004. And we worked for a John Kerry campaign, and he beat George W. Bush in Radnor, which used to be Republican. And then by 2010, I was the chairman. And in 2009, we took over Radnor Township and made it a Democratic township. So right now, we have been the only the biggest municipality to flip Democratic. Hopefully Upper Darby will go Democratic next year, and Haverford Township and some others. But, it's been gratifying for me to play a role. And believe me, it's a team effort. I'm just the chairman of the party. Everybody else has pitched in, and we've done this collectively as a team to bring people together to turn Radnor Township blue. And I think you know that Radnor Township is the main line of Delaware County. It comprises Bryn Mawr, Rosemont, Villanova, St. David's, Wayne, and some other smaller communities. And it's Democratic. And people go, the main line's Democratic? I said, yes, it is. And in 2016, in the Trump-Hillary election, Hillary Clinton won by over 5,000 votes. She beat Trump 10,300 and something to 5,061. So it was a very resounding victory in Radnor, and we look forward to more Democratic victories.
A lot of hard work went into that, didn't it,
A
George?
lot of hard work, and not just on my part. Our whole team, we brought together a team of people with a common shared purpose and goals, and that's how you do it. And that's what we did, and I'm very proud of what we did in Radnor.
George, talk about the old congressional district and what you learned about it when you ran in 2012.
Well, first of all, I learned that the 7th district, the old gerrymander district, was rigged. And, I got in there, as you know, Larry, you and I'd see each other a lot on the campaign trail that year. And the way the lines were drawn, it went from the county line of Delaware County and Philly all the way out to Lancaster County, Amish country. And it meandered through pieces of Delaware County, not all of it, and pieces of Montgomery County that were Republican, and pieces of Chester County, Berks County, Lancaster County. It was 5 counties in the same district. It could take you hours to drive from end to end. It was an abomination, and thankfully, we were vindicated in 2018, this year, when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court declared that these lines were unconstitutional under the Pennsylvania Constitution, and they threw them out. And, it was great, the decision.
So when Andy Riley says, well, this really isn't fair, now there's too many Democrats in this new 5th district, and the old one at least was fair because it was an even number of Republicans and Democrats, does that really tell the whole picture?
Absolutely not. It's really ridiculous when you just look at the numbers. I'm going to go through it really quickly for the viewers so they get it. And it's not hard to grasp. There's approximately 4 million Democrats in Pennsylvania and 3 million Republicans. So there's 1 million more Democrats than Republicans. And Pennsylvania has 18 congressional districts in it. And the Republicans drew that map in 2011. They had a Republican Governor Corbett, Republican State House and Senate, and they were unfettered in drawing whatever lines they wanted. And the way they drew it, it came out with 13 Republican seats and 5 Democratic seats. They call it packing and cracking. And what that means is they packed all Democrats into 5 districts. So in the first, where Bob Badey represented, he got way over 80% of the vote. The Democrats would get 70 to 80% of the vote, or even up to 90% of the vote, and the Republicans would get very, very little. And then in the cracked districts, they would crack Democrats. So when I ran against Pat Meehan, that was designed that a Democrat would get between 40, 44, 45% in that range, but never enough to win, but enough to use up a lot of Democratic votes and waste them. So it was an extraordinarily complex, computer-driven program that the Republicans used to steal the congressional delegation from the voters. So voters weren't picking their congressmen or Congress. The party was picking the voters, and it was an abomination. And finally, we were vindicated in 2018 when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said no more. These districts are gone. And since then, the United States Supreme Court has refused to disturb that decision. So we're gratified. And this new district basically has all of Delaware County. So for the first time in decades, we've got our own congressional district where there is, all of Delaware County is in the same district. And Delaware County comprises almost 80% of this district. And that's why I feel it is super important that a Delaware County person be the representative in Congress for this district. And, that leads us into our other issue in this particular race. I don't know if we should get into that yet.
We'll get to that very shortly, George.
George, how did running before help you now?
Well, I got a chance. I was very fortunate. I mean, even though we didn't win in the end, it was rigged, I was fortunate to have a chance to meet thousands of people all over the district, the 7th district, which included a lot of Delaware County. So I got a chance to meet people, hear their concerns, know what they wanted, know what they cared about. And I think the most important function of an elected official, especially a member of Congress, is to be responsive to what people want. And for example, people are concerned about our environment. They're concerned about women's reproductive rights. They're concerned about, where we're headed as a nation. Where are our priorities as a nation? And I learned so much from listening. Maybe I'm talking too much here today, but...
Not too much, George. Just the right amount.
Well, you learn a lot more from your ears than from your mouth. And I went all over the district in 2012, and I learned a lot. And I met a lot of people, and a lot of people have urged me to run again. And I always said, I'm not going to run again the way these lines are drawn because it's just not fair and I don't have a chance. But with the new lines, I think that Delaware County is finally going to get a member of Congress who will be responsive to the needs of the people of Delaware County.
George, why do you want to run for Congress?
I think it's time that Delaware County gets a representative from Delaware County that is responsive. When I ran in 2012, I realized so many things need to be done in this nation. We need to protect our environment. We need to do things that matter for future generations. And especially with the threat of the Trump administration, it's more important than ever that we have a Congress who will stand up to Trump and not let him tear down everything that we've built up in this country. It's threatening. It's frightening. The rule of law is literally at risk with Donald Trump.
All right, George, you said we'd get back into this more. Let's do it now. You mentioned that it's important to have someone from Delaware County, but isn't it most important to elect the best person? Why is it so important for the people of Delaware County to elect someone from Delaware County?
Well, I think, obviously, in this situation, we have a district, the 5th Congressional District, the newly drawn 5th, which includes all of Delaware County. The whole county is in the same district, okay? And it makes up almost 80% of the county. And when that district was announced, a whole bunch of people jumped into this race. So right now we have well over a dozen people running for Congress in the Democratic primary. We have one candidate who currently lives in South Philadelphia and who's endorsed and backed by Johnny Dock, the labor leader, and Jim Kenney, the mayor. And Philadelphia already has 2 congressmen already with the newly drawn districts. They're going to have 2 seats. This seat was designed for Delaware County, but they're trying to grab that 3rd seat for Philadelphia also. And I think that's a problem because a person who's living in Philadelphia who hasn't been in Delaware County, involved in anything with Delaware County, cannot possibly represent our interest fully and truly. I was the candidate in 2012 in Delaware County. I've been living in Delaware County for 30 years. I understand the concerns and the interests of Delaware County, and I've said Delaware County, those words a lot here, but it's very important. And what's going to happen? The Philadelphia Democratic political machine is thrilled to see all these people in Delaware County running, because what will happen is they'll split up the Delco vote, and the guy from Philly will win, and Philly will then have 3 members of Congress, and Delco will have none. And I'm the guy that can get a plurality of the votes in Delaware County with the endorsement, plus go into South Philadelphia and take a lot of votes from that candidate in Philly, because I am also born and raised South Philly kid who I've been a mummer for 47 years. I still play tenor saxophone in a string band. I represent the mummers. I have a lot of South Philly connections.
You say you represent the mummers. Be specific, George.
Well,
as a lawyer?
I'm the lawyer for the mummers, for all the mummers in negotiating their television contracts over the last 15, 20 years. I've represented the mummers, and I created Save the Mummers, which is an organization that stopped the Nutter administration from dismantling the Mummers Parade. So I represent over 40 clubs, thousands thousands of people in South Philadelphia know me because I've been there for them too. So I'm going to be a congressman who not only lives in Delaware County for the last 30 years and understands the concerns of the Delco part of this district, but I also have a lot of connection to South Philadelphia. As you said in the intro, I mean, I went to South Philly High School. I was the valedictorian in my class, and from there I went to Penn. So it was sort of a culture shock for me. But South Philly's always in my heart too. So the folks in South Philly don't have to worry. I get it, and I will. And I'll represent everyone in this district as fully and best as I can.
George, why should people vote for you?
Well, I think it's pretty clear the way things are materializing, and Joe Sestak has endorsed me recently because he gets it too. There are a lot of people in Delaware County running for this nomination in the Democratic Party. I've been with these Democratic candidates in many forums, many situations where we go and appear and speak. All of them are great people. All of them would vote well in Congress. The problem we have is with the votes being all split up in Delaware County with so many people running, if they vote for anybody except me, the guy from South Philadelphia will come out of South Philadelphia unchallenged, and he'll just have more votes coming in while we split up the Delaware County vote. The difference that I offer is that I will get, if I'm endorsed, I'll have a plurality of Delaware County votes, but I will also be able to go into South Philadelphia. I represent over 40 mummers clubs, thousands of people. I grew up there. I have dozens of cousins in South Philadelphia. It's my hometown, even though I've been living in Delaware County 30 years. The first half of my life was in South Philly. So I can go into South Philly and take enough votes away that I'll win the nomination. So even though you think, oh, I would love so-and-so to be the congressperson, it's sadly, you can't do that. If you do that, you're going to give it to the Philadelphia political machine guy, and then they'll have 3 congressmen, and Delaware County will have 0.
So let's be specific. What is the percentage breakup of these demographics? We have, what, percent from Delaware County?
Well, it's about, the difference, too, that people need to realize is that the population-wise, it's about 78% of the people live in Delaware County in the district. But the voting numbers are a little different, Democrats. And that's important because this is a Democratic primary. So the Philly wards, which are involved, which is Southwest Philly and Lower South Philadelphia, it's about 51,000 Democrats in the Philadelphia portion of this district. The Delaware County portion of this district is about 178,000 votes. So there's a big advantage that Delaware County has, but with 10 people, 8 people, even 6 people, 2 people, 5 people, whatever it ends up being, they're going to split up Delaware County's votes. And unless the candidate from Delaware County has the ability to go into South Philadelphia and take votes away from the Philadelphia machine candidate, the Philadelphia machine is going to take the race.
Now explain this Philadelphia machine comment, because that candidate is going to say he's for the middle class, that he's for the worker, and he has good democratic values. So be specific when you make this charge. It's a strong comment.
Well, let me be clear. I am not criticizing Rich Laser's position on the issues. I know Rich Laser. I like Rich Laser. But I don't believe Rich Laser, I don't believe, he's not from Delaware County. He's never been in Delaware County. His entire 32 years of life has been in South Philly, in the same neighborhood where I grew up for many years. So he can't possibly come to Delaware County next year. For example, next year we're going to have Delaware County elections. 3 county council seats are up next year. We're going to have municipal elections, school boards, township commissioners all over Delaware County. I've been on the Leaders Council of Delaware County Democratic Committee for years. I know just about every Delaware County leader and many other committee people. I will love next year, if I'm congressman, to go around to all our communities in Delaware County as the congressman from Delaware County to help them elect more Democrats. Rich Laser, even though he's a good guy, he's a 32-year-old from South Philadelphia that can't possibly come in and help the Delaware County candidates in their municipal elections like I will. So it's going to matter. Elections matter. Local elections matter even more sometimes. So me being a congressman will just allow me to do even more for Delaware County that the machine Philadelphia candidate cannot do.
George, there are a lot of other Delaware County candidates. What separates you from them?
Well, like I said already, number one, electability. I believe I'm the only one that's electable because of my ability to go into South Philadelphia to get those votes. But more than that, like I had said, an important function of the Delaware County Democratic congressperson will be the ability to come in and help other Democrats get elected next year in county-wide and township-wide elections. And those other Democrats that are running, as nice as they are, none of them are on the Leaders Council. None of them are the chairman of the party in any township. And we have one of the largest townships in the county. So I know all the people involved. I will be happy to go around and help them get Democrats elected throughout the county. And some of these people who woke up after Donald Trump got elected and said, I've got to run, they don't have that connection. They don't have that history. They don't have that knowledge of the district like I have. I've been preparing for this seat my whole life.
George, we're going to leave it there. I want to thank you again for being a guest on Delaware County Political News.
My pleasure, Larry. Thank you.
We have been here with George Badey, and I am your host, Larry DeMarco. If you like this video, don't forget to share it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are signing off. Tune in next time. Bye for now.